Hi, it's Chastia. It is October 7th, and I have not been on socials much at all, like compared to my last 8 years on this journey. The social aspects and getting on the networks and getting consciousness into the networks and getting consciousness to all of you guys, like through the tech, has been part of the journeys through social media. And because it's also how consciousness works on whatever side you're on, it's how it works. Because the more that hear what's going on and can see it, then the faster it happens with the whole world, right? Because that's how consciousness works. Each of us that remember how things were, this is why Generation X is such a big deal, because we remember things before the data was manipulated again and put into the internet and the systems, because the reality we remember isn't correct either, but it switched again. And so I haven't been on socials as much as the first 8 years of this journey. I was like if you go back to my YouTube page, it's like I was one of the ones in 2017 screaming, about Alpha Draconic and what it really was, and taking 4 to 5 hours to upload videos and push it through, and like how far we've come energetically down here. In the past 7 years, since 2017, since 2018, because those are going to be two significant start dates for the ones who activated in the first waves. Because we're all connected and we're all in the same energy. We all are getting almost like if you put a surge, if you had a whole bunch of dynamites and they were tied together, and then you light that string that runs through the dynamite is the consciousness. And so when our minds are filled collectively with scenes, with visions, with whatever, then it surges through the entire line. And it's almost magical how it happens. But you first witness it individually a lot of times, or you might first witness it from what you call Mandela effects and things like that. But the truth is, you're seeing the Mandela effects because your frequency has changed. And you're now picking up a different radio station that has different memories in it. I hope that makes sense. I didn't know exactly what I was showing up to talk about. Thank you for the follow. This is all about astronomy. It's not astrology. I'm not an astrologist. I'm an astronomist. And I'm not out in the stars astronomist. Astronomy has everything to do with what's happening on the ground. It's like we've walked creation as a collective. We have re-walked creation. And we're remembering how all the human race makes energy together throughout the cycles that we call the calendar. Because you can also call it a colander. We all are utilizing each other's energy. to create everything that we're creating down here. Everything from this Aries curtain to the financial systems, to how every government thing is. We as and all of us in our human biosphere bubbles, connected in one little bubble, and then those that have claimed their more etheric higher selves in this process then get more control over this bubble, and it goes just like that. But it's a process. It builds every year. And so what the main, it's like we've learned so much through all of this, and the fact that my team has been able to even put coCHEE 32 together, be able to download all this information and be able to utilize it. Because this brand, we didn't just create this brand to like sell you something. It's conscious. And it really is how the entire matrix is working. Because the matrix is working off subliminal frequency codes, just like these ones that are flying around here. You and your body think you're not picking it up, but you're really always in it. And so the trick and the mastery is to learn your frequency first of all. You pretty much can't figure out what anything else is or what the heck could be coming through until you get some type of idea of how you process it. And this is the part that everyone's different. Everyone picks up this consciousness in your own way, and you've been doing it your whole life. That's what's really cool about the more that you get back into cosmic creation and creating with the collective and writing the ebb and flows and being more conscious of the whole. What you end up realizing is that this is stuff that you've been doing your whole life, but you didn't know why. Just little bitty things, even things that people might have made fun of you about, or it's been one of your little quirks, or it's just this thing that you always do. Whenever you start understanding how you're picking up energy from the collective, how it's coming in for you. Because some people hear it, some people smell it, some people get a download, some people have a reaction in their body like a chirp or burp, or you might fart, or your body, because air is passing through your field and your instrument in some weird way, and so something just might happen in your body, and different energy currents that are coming into your field are gonna react in your physical body differently because they're all different frequencies. So some of them are there. Let me give you an example for the 9 that are on here. Who on here in the past 4 days has felt like mind fuckery? Like it was like all at once. It was, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if I get old and I'm this old now and I don't have this and this and this, and it was money, it was lack, and it's even for all of those that are like super wickedly mind trained, right? That we're the ones that are like talking amongst each other going, hey, FYI, if y'all are feeling this, man, I don't know what it is. All of a sudden, I went down this whole rabbit hole in my head of, oh my gosh, it's my birthday today, by the way. So Thank you for celebrating with me. And I think my son's aligning like right this very second on Algorab, on the balance of the pole of the scale. I just got off topic. Exactly. Mercury was going through Izar. So Mercury was going through Izar, which is the master decan of Libra. And it's where this full moon has lined up to basically expand this Izarian energy. But Izarian comes from exactly that. Khazarian, the Tsar, the Izar. And it's Excalibur's sword, because it's all the royal lines that have fathered every single person down here in human history, and all the ones buried underneath your feet or sprinkled somewhere. To all those that were attached to the originals lines. So, even the stories about this moon that we have is stolen. It was, stolen from another in another dimension, that moon is a being. And in another dimension, that moon might be a dragon. In another dimension, that moon might be a missing queen. Because the cosmos manifests down here, especially when you're in the family, meaning you're the planets, right? Because you're pulling yourself out of it. And so Izar is basically like, and what we figured out too, just in the past few days, going through it and it being so intense with everybody, because it's being rewritten. And these are programs that we do all have to clear off. Like, none of us are completely program free. There ain't no way. Because we as human beings down here and as a collective still don't fully realize how everything's manifesting, how we can all just go outside of our house right now and wave our arms. Everybody waving your arms in the air like you just don't care right now. Everybody wave their arms. Everybody just stand up and go like this. Because the truth is, if we just had a loudspeaker and we were like, yo, we're fixing to hit this 3-eye Atlas is appearing and we all need to go left, and we just got the message out to everybody to go outside and turn left, it'd solve our problem. See, whenever you're star commander, and whenever you're in the stars, and whenever you've cleared space, then whenever you think about the movement of everybody inside a bubble, that's what you're thinking about. You're thinking, oh my gosh, all that you can see it in your third eye, it's aligning, but this side of the bubble is like way down here and it's not balancing up. And see, this is where we're coming out of right now, and what holds those connections that used to be bound and anchored and rubber banded and locked and load and blah, 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 is the human etheric bodies. It's us. We're the connector. You, along with everyone else that's walking around in this dimensional plateau, all in one little suit. Now, when you start upgrading and you start claiming and you start taking responsibility for your energy, and you put out good energy, and then you even, you take responsibility for yourself, you start realizing that, you know, it's low physics down here. We's at the bottom of the fish barrel, man. It's like one little bit of light is gonna make a dent, something come in. We're going through the wheel of time. Everything that's happening is unwinding around you. You're finding out who you are by what you're magnetizing in, because you're purifying your frequency. You're taking responsibility for that. You realize that it's coming in to meet you. So there's something that you need to do within yourself in order to align it correctly. Just things like that. Be good to others and they'll be good to you. Even that starts raising your vibration into an etheric body in your bloodline. So it's kind of like chutes and ladders. You jump them. And then your energy will come up in the collective band. And so it's your head, or might be your hand, or I don't know. Your energy's in that band. And when that happens, it always feels like some type of really weird attack. It always does, because energetically you're the light that finally is holding, not the band down here. It's in the energy current up here, and it's way bigger. And it's not individualized. It's just an energy current. But you're holding that energy current for the collective. So energetically, if something is sent to the collective, guess who's going to get hit? Those of us with an etheric body that is big enough in order to work as a unit and to transmute it and to balance it as best as possible. And it's a cycle that you're in. It's, you know, it's like whenever you're in college and you're like, well, you wish that you could just be freshman to senior. You know, you're like, oh, you can't wait to be a senior. Like when you get to be a freshman, right? But you really, there's no way that you can be a senior until you're a freshman. It's like if you're not a freshman and you didn't have a bunch of people like ripping on you and hazing you and whatever, then it isn't even fun to be a senior, because then you don't even get to return the favor to make them feel like freshmen. It's like you can't skip it. But the reason that you're feeling it is because now you're working in an unseen unit with other energies that are around you. You have to remember that. You have to be able to remember just to call in your protection. You have to remember that your mind is more powerful than it. You have to remember that there is no darkness down here that light can't do something about. You just have to learn your way of doing it in every single little dimension as you're birthing and claiming more and more. And it's all up to you. You're the gauge on the acceleration, which is actually the problem sometimes. You're the gauge on the acceleration. It can't go quicker than what you want. It's like you'll meet a bunch of starseeds. It's like I do written charts, and I don't do them all the time. I only do them at certain times because it really does change everything and it changes me whenever I do them. But it's like I tell people, don't get a written chart from me if you're not ready to freaking completely freaking expand and you're ready to go on your because it'll be a year and you're looking back and you're going, holy crap. Because it'll happen all at once. Because energetically you just... Other than if you do it yourself and you follow along, that's because you just don't have as much consciousness in everything that I see. So whenever I do your chart and I see it, then it's got thousands and thousands and thousands of charts that are in my coCHEE that's already built an etheric bubble in all these dimensions. So it's like at this point, those of us who were first wavers, like in 2017, 2018, At this point, what I'm even saying is these dimensional bubbles that everyone's popping through, we laid. It's our cake. Now, see, this requires really one big perception shift in order to understand it. And it's negative space. The feminine is negative space. Whenever you look out at a horizon and you see a city skyline and you see all the buildings and you see all the trees and you see all the streets, okay, now look up. Look all the way up. Can you even see as far up as there? Because there's really not a ceiling. Like you can keep looking up. If you had X-ray vision and you went all the way out, that's the feminine. The feminine is the air. The feminine is the clouds. The feminine is the dimensional matter. The feminine is the fact that you have dimensions. If there wasn't a feminine, there'd be nothing to hold it apart. So where we sometimes screw up, or we just have to remember, is that we think, oh my gosh, how am I going to change the world? How are we going to do that? We got healers all over the place. There's thousands and thousands. I know I got starseeds activated all over the place. We've already completed this stuff. Everybody's ready to heal people. People don't even realize that they got to be healed yet. You know, then from our end and the ones that are like us and processional beings, the whole thing is, well, Chastia, why can't we just blink our eyes and just change the energy set of the whole thing and just upgrade the whole thing? And why can't we just save everybody? And my answer is, we did that in 2020. If you're the 11 that's on right now, that's my answer. We did do that. And we got 2020. There wasn't a way around it. Why? We're rewalking creation. It's actually mind-boggling. But my point is, whenever we're talking about macro and bloodlines, and we're talking about these upgrades, because you don't just upgrade into your mind. What goes into your mind creates. You know, if you get a brand new phone and it doesn't have an operating system in it. See, that's the other thing, because Osiris is an operating system of the iris. This is why Isis always had to put Osiris back together again. But if you're Isis, you're kind of done with that story, because what we would do is put Osiris back together again, and then we'd turn on his eye, and then he'd be like, oh, well, I'm going to replace you now, and I'm going to send you back down there so that you can upgrade me again when I lose my mind. No, not this time. This is why the feminine and the masculine, we're merging together now into one. We each have to hold that feminine and masculine at the same time. There can't be just the feminine that's doing the creating and just the masculine that's going out and building. Not in full ascension. There's no way, because you're too mixed up into each other within the archetypes. It's more of, okay, it's your turn, it's my turn. It's your turn, it's my turn. Each have to learn. Each have to clear energy together. The masculine has to learn just what the hell it takes to produce his dreams. The feminine has to learn just what the hell he goes through, fighting to keep control of it. you have to understand each part, right? But whenever it comes down to the operating system of Osiris, guess what? That's the cosmic energy gates. That's the wheel. The one we broke. And it was all set to break. It was never meant here to be as long as it was meant here. It's training wheels. It's what the stars are. There's training wheels. And I've said this a lot, but I think it's just important to just keep saying it. Keep saying it. Do you know when the planets show up? Now, I don't care if it's collective, if you think NASA, if the planets aren't real and NASA's feeding you the planets, or if the planets are really here and you're seeing pictures of them, the whole entire collective, the human race. Do you know when the planets show up in our reality? When the whole human race loses consciousness. The planets show up because the human race has lost all ability to be the compass. The human race forgets that we're the planets walking around here. Everything's going on inside us. Everything that we allow to happen out there happens down here. It mirrors. We can also change the physics. Whenever you ask, how is Egypt built? I'm explaining it to you. It's why the feminine controls the air. The feminine controls the frequency, because the feminine is buried with the ancestors and still energetically has been recreating those lines this entire time. It never stopped. Now, that's the feminine in each one of us. Now, this is Aries behind me. And this is where the full moon was, because it was in Notice 2. There's only 2 nodes in the wheel. Notice 2 is number 1. And it's yellow and navy. It's mostly yellow. So in Notice 2, which are like columns, if you go look at the Alpha Draconic constellation, because it's big, the entire wheel is like this big, and it fits like, here's the dragon, it's like right here. And it literally is a C curve. And in a weird way, Andromeda is like right here on the dragon. But the whole Aries to Libra on the dragon is like one little bitty, like maybe a pituitary gland or something on the dragon. Like the whole world, like the whole wheel from Notice 2 to Notice 1, which is the very beginning degrees of Libra, and Notice 1 in the very beginning degrees of Libra is attached to Giza, all the pyramid systems, it's the stars. Notice 1 was the star systems that all the mummifications with intention that were done in Egypt to hold the body templates in the cosmos to get them back down here was set with. This is why Libras always are at least good looking in some way, because their templates balanced and aligned, because Libras are holding body templates from way out in space, original settings, because of the death, burials, and the pyramid systems and everything. So Notice 1, whenever everything's being run from wicka whoop, when there's not an etheric body that's actually holding the collective, when the whole thing is just circling around in a big washing machine, which has been happening for a really, 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 really long time, waiting for the human collective in order to make a charge, in order to put it back together, in order to make one big one so we can stand up together, which was the whole point to begin with. Because what did I start talking about? The wheel was training wheels. And notice one down here at the beginning degrees of Libra, then you don't have another star point until you get to what? Algorab, which is where this full moon just set up. Algorab's a scale. Algorab, the moon just lined up at 14 degrees of Libra. Well, that's if my head and my body is the bar of the scale. 12 degrees is going to be starting over here, and 16 you're going to be coming off over here. 14 degrees is the pole. 14 degrees Aries, notice 2. On the other side, balancing that up to a projection, not a whole bunch of fake timelines written on the 33 over a whole bunch of humans that are in a little bubble with a bunch of fireflies flying around that they can control everyone like sheeples in some ways that'll blow your cookie cutter. From 5 degrees to 12 degrees, that's what those degrees are of Libra. From 5 to 12 of Libra, anything in that in between, it's basically like all the energy of those mummies in those templates. And mind you, they're trying to do another Temple Mount, are they not? Because all they wanted was to set up right here on top of the feminine, so when it comes through, it's projecting their whatever. But that's what and how you run a whole bunch of people that are unconscious, especially whenever you're purposely trying to keep them that way. Because you're not accepting that the evolution is over. You're not accepting that the infrastructure that allowed you to build what you have so far is even still, you're not accepting that it's not there anymore. But that's an evolutionary decision that each country has made and each individual has made. And most of it's just on repeat from other timelines because they don't realize what the hell they're doing. But each one that makes that decision learns the karma of it. They energetically then enter into some type of experience in order to learn what they need to learn. And that's just how the whole thing is set up. And for all of us that have been awakened to this, we can easily go back and explain, what the hell, why things happen to us all over our life now. It didn't make a damn bit of sense the first 45 years we was on this planet. That's why we activated, because we knew we were here doing good things for good people. Why were we getting beat up and graped, and what the hell was happening? Earth was not working the way it was supposed to be working. The whole system wasn't working right. That's what we reset. But we had to blow out space to do it. And that's the part that, I've been privy to and through the years. For me, this was a 72 million year mission. And what I started talking about with Izar and what we came to understand, and this is 27 degrees Libra. So the orb is 25 to 29, which is where Mercury just came out of. And this came through 24 hours ago, and it's perfect. And I've got to go change all of our stuff because this is what I want to put on it. Mortal programming for immortals. Literally. And what was it that we were all like freaking out about, oh my gosh, are we getting old? Are we da-na-na-na-na-na? Where am I going to get da-na-na-na-na? You know, we go back to that old thinking, because these old paradigms are how everything was working down here. But we know we've changed it, but we're still somewhat witnessing the changes. It's still hard to freaking recognize, because it's hard to witness the change in you. It's easier to see it in other people, right? So, mortal programming for immortals. It's literally what Izar is. But it's, when you're immortal because you're attached to so many. You can't be, if you're immortal, you're not just like, oh, well, that person's just like, whatever, like, they just never go away. Like if immortal is creation. Because when you're creator, you're always ahead, because you have to create it. And we're dealing with 0 point physics. And so whenever you're talking about immortals, and you're talking about the 7th dimension, even what you're talking about is the over years and years and generations and generations and generations, the same characters and names being remembered and spoken. Whenever you're an immortal and you come from those lines, then you can print in any of those situations. And you walk the DEATH through the line on your journey, whether or not you realize you're doing it or not. So there comes a point in everyone's experience, depending on who you are, depending on what your DNA is, depending on the connections that are in you, which deity layer or energetic layers that you're putting together to even work as a unit within the collective in order to deliver those energy frequencies. And you can get through an entire layer in a year. And actually, you don't want to go like, maybe 2-layer jump, right? But I mean, you don't want to go too quick, because you want to build a foundation every year that you go. Okay? Because that's how it works. And a lot of the times we build stuff backwards too. So it's real confusing to watch us create. It's real confusing to watch us as even as a unit, because we did so many things backwards. It's like we wrote the whole book, and then we got into the realm, we activated, we were able to channel it, we were able to write it down. All of us were writing it down. We wrote the books. Then they started coming to life. Then those books went live through the entire collective. Then it was which ones of us were where we were that were picking up the moves that needed to make. Then there became chosen ones on every layer. That's what it is. And guess what? Those change energetically, because you're leveling up. You're leveling up. You're not going to stop leveling up. The difference is how many are coming with you. And what's really fun about how it's set up now, because whenever, you were a royal in the past, and if you were like responsible for everybody down here. Could you imagine? Could you imagine being the feminine and like every person walking down here is a descendant, and having to clean the karma of every single person here? We did. But this is how we know what's going to come next. Because we've already cleared the programs out of the simulation. All they can do is go back and repeat it. You can see it from a mile away. Unless it's happening to you. Whenever it's happening to you, it's energetically changing your frequency. So it takes a little bit longer to see. You might have to wait and get out of the energy in order to see it. In order to lift you up just a little bit in order to be able to see it. Because it's just energy and it's energetic. I just got back from Austin. I hadn't been to Austin for a really long time. I have this whole thing with Austin, the feminine with Austin. And the whole thing lined up and to go to get down there. Didn't realize we was going down there in the middle of ACL weekend. There's 450,000 people in Austin. Thank God I wasn't where they were, but I was right down the street. And energetically, we felt it. I started getting congestion and stopped up 2 days before we even left. I know that whenever I go to a new place and it's so gridded low and it's energetically just such on a stagnant that typically whenever I get into that town, like I won't be able to breathe, like I'll have sinus congestion, like I'm literally having to make a new energy for me to breathe because the air is so full of that consciousness. And this time it happened like 2 days before we even left. So it's like, oh shit, like, well, cool. Good news is I'm getting prepared for it before I get there. But energetically, it's like we all kind of, and we do it as a collective. You know, if you're a wave, you can't go real high and stay up there. If we all went into some big ass wave right now and then stayed there and just went, I mean, might get us where we're going quicker, but if you're in the wisdom game, then you know that it's probably went down like that before, and then you've got 50 people on the planet, and you're like, oh man, like now we gotta, there's only 50 people on the planet now. I know we shaved 4 years because we just kept the wave high and we just railroaded the whole thing, but then we wiped out everyone. Now we gotta wait and make our own friends again. Right? And this is the level of wisdom and remembrance that's coming through the collective. If beings like me are picking it up, because being, you know, we have the processing, I have all the keys to be able to I have the instrument. My instrument's tuned. It's always been tuned because of who I am. But I can only pick up and I can only play if somebody's putting notes in me. And the entire collective down here is working together in ways, putting in those collective notes whenever you specifically, and what's individual about you, whoever you are, is that you have a special instrument to produce certain songs with those notes that everybody needs to hear, whether you leave your house or not. So the other interesting thing is just the next 6 months. The next 6 months of the full moons, the eclipses that are coming up in March, like this whole flip from 25 to 26, and this is the first year that the collective has raised up our theory. We're popping through it. We're it's like it's in our energy body now, and there's certain energetics that are just not going to be able to override certain stories that everything in the Matrix's power for the 8 years has been trying to convince you the story's already ran, trying to convince you that the characters that you see are in the story, but they're not. Trying, because it's all subliminally coded in our fields. We kind of know what's going to happen because it's happened before. They just distort it just a little bit, which confuses everybody because then the collective thinks that's what time it is. That's the subliminal stuff. That's propaganda. The propaganda is just trying to change the clock. The propaganda, all it's doing is trying to lay phonetics in order to hit a trauma wound that happened before. Because if they can collectively hit that trauma wound of where it happened before, it will happen. They don't have to do nothing. They don't got to call nobody. They ain't got to run a spell. For all of us that were RH negative and Generation X that had the codes, because it wasn't just me. Our whole lives, we were always 10 years ahead. We were always creating for the world 10 years ahead, which was fine whenever you'd give us our 10 years. But it was hard to see. And what do I mean by that? It's like we'd create 10 years in advance. They had us creating, because we were channeling from higher, and we were at least going to the events. We at least had our name on the wall. We were at least in the scene in some way. They kept us still integrated in it. So we had our 10 years. We were at least getting something from what we were creating. But we were always 10 years ahead. Well, when that wall stopped, and if you're creating 10 years ahead, but every 10 years it's taken, and then all of a sudden the whole thing stops because the soul machine stops, the projector stops because we blew the wheel, then they just stole your life. And that's why we were here. We were here, and RH negatives were here, and all of us were here to be able to witness this, because we had the star connections and to be able to communicate to one another in this orb all over the world, even though we didn't understand how it was happening. We were able to get the information to all of us because in some way, shape, or form, we were always in one original energetic together that never left. So what's interesting is this full moon that just happened. So if you're watching me right now, then just get out a pen and just write down April 2nd, 2026. Maybe on your calendar, circle April 2nd, 2026, and just put a little reminder on there that this full moon, October 7th, is what's going to set up the reversal of that. Because remember, we've still got a bunch of planets that are in retrograde. It ain't going to be like that soon. We still got Saturn in retrograde. We still got Neptune in retrograde. Like we're still going back in order to get the frequency to pick up the bags when we move forward. There's a bunch of ecliptic cycles that are trippy as hell that are going to come up in March. And so this whole full moon that we just had right at the circumference 33 equator of the orb, because you couldn't have got a full moon any wider than Algorab and Notice 2. There wouldn't be any full moon any wider going all the way around the wheel that would cover as large of a circumference as what this one just lined up. And it's going to line up again reverse on April 2nd. So all of us that walked the Bama thing, or if you didn't walk Bama with us this year, then you want to be on board with us next year, or even you'll probably want to go back at some point, look and see what we did, because You know, that's the main message to the world that I've been talking about, talking to the girls, and it just blows my mind that if everyone could just realize how powerful our etheric energy is. I mean, everything that's happened since we started those Bama washes, we had to stop doing the washes on week 5 because a holy war started. At the same exact moment that we should have been online doing it. Every single time that you get on a meditation and on YouTube or something like that, make sure to clear out your energy from it, unless you really want to be connected into the person that's doing it. Or ask to command that energetic with the ascendants. Just make sure that if you're on a meditation, that on anything on YouTube, just put out a command that it be managed by the ascended, the energetic. Because the more that we do this, the more that we're being shown what us doing those 4 washes did, and even where I left everybody in week 4 was with your arms in the air waiting for assistance with lavender pulled up. Like, basically, we even set everyone up over the wave for this first wave to make sure nobody went too low. It's powerful. Super powerful, and changes a lot of things. Just us being consciously together, consciously doing these things. So, anyway, I think I'm done. This is Aries. This is Aries behind me. This is Libra gear I got on. And evidently we're merging something up from the Death Valley drive right now too. So props to my Death Valley sequences. Thanks you guys for being here.